It's a high drive center field. Beer leans back. This game is turned upside down. Pujols into the air. It's deep to left. Taylor's back at the wall. It's 700.
On fly ball. Deep left. There it goes. Soaring into history.
Fastball hit to left. It is long gone.
Hello and welcome to Swing for Contact's baseball podcast. It is episode 19. Today's date is July 20th, 2023, and we are back from the dead because this summer has been an adventure for everyone. I have moved houses, had surgery. That's been fun. Noah, you've been on vacation and also had a little procedure taken care of. Aiden, you've got like the summer flu right now, so this thing has just been quite the month that we've been away from each other.
I missed you guys.
I don't know how to respond to that. Aiden, I know you're not feeling all that great, so we'll keep the interaction short and sweet with you, but it's good to actually hear from y'all. It's been a long few weeks, so I'm glad we finally got to sit down and do this again. Obviously, the All-Star Game has come and gone. The Home Run Derby come and gone. All the fanfare that comes with it, which now means it is Shohei Ohtani clickbait season because it's the trade deadline, and we're gonna do our best to focus on some things maybe other than Shohei Ohtani. But we will talk about him here in a little bit. First piece of news, obviously, Aiden, you and I were just kind of talking about this. What separates a deadline trade versus a non-deadline trade? Because the first quote-unquote deadline move took place where the Orioles have acquired the first-year Major League Baseball pitcher Shintaro Fujinami from the Athletics for a AAA left-handed pitcher. Kind of I don't want to say a weird move, but obviously Fujinami has not had great numbers over here in the state so far, but maybe the Orioles see something that they can tap into and kind of make him an important part of either the back end of their rotation or a bullpen piece going down the stretch. They are currently technically in first place as of today. So any reactions to the Orioles getting Fujinami?
So I'd like this trade a little bit better if it wasn't the Athletics and the Orioles, because the Athletics are kind of good at developing pitching, but they weren't really able to make it work with Fujinami. He has a lot of stuff, but like his fastball, he gets a lot of rotation on it. He gets a lot of spin, but it has almost no movement. So I don't really know what the case is there. I don't think the Orioles can get any worse from this trade, though, because it wasn't really a big prospect they gave up for him. I like it as a win-win trade.
No.
Yeah, I think he just said it, like, hit it on the head. Like, I don't see it being a negative thing for the Orioles because, I mean, you know, he came. This is his first year in the MLB, right?
Right.
Am I okay? So I mean, we've seen he's had like Aiden said, the control issues and whatnot. I like this trade for Baltimore because their bullpen is already like really good in my eyes. You have Felix Bautista and, forgive me for butchering this if I do, but Yenier Cano. I think that's how you say his name. So if it works out, it works out, and you're geniuses. And if it doesn't, I don't think anybody really clowns you or you get like a negative thing from this. So
Yeah, and for the Athletics, it's cleaning out the rest of his $3.5 million deal that they had on the books. It's not a whole lot for the Orioles to pick up, and I think as of late, he's only allowed like 2 runs in the last like 30 days or something similar to that. He had a really rough go for a while, but maybe he's starting to figure some stuff out in that bullpen role. So it could be fun. Like adding that he could be a long relief guy. He could just be an extra arm that has high velocity, high stuff that they can add in the back end. So something to keep an eye on for sure. And early on, we were kind of talking like before the season and kind of looking at the different teams rosters and makeups, like we were kind of worried about, the back end of that rotation. And so, if they think they can fix some of his control issues for 5-6 innings at a time, then maybe he gets stretched back out into a spot like that. Looking at some rumors, these were some things posted by MLB website, some of their writers. A couple of these I found plausible. A couple of these I found kind of funny. But the first one that they mentioned was the Dodgers and the White Sox. Obviously, the White Sox, sitting at 40 and 57, maybe the most talent disappointing thing going this year. They've been linked to Giolito, Lance Lynn, some other guys that they are looking to potentially sell. The Dodgers were connected to Giolito, Tim Anderson, and Kendall Graveman. So a starter, a shortstop, and a reliever. Obviously, the Dodgers have probably the prospect package to get something like that done pretty easily, I would think. I don't know if they have enough to get that done plus a potential Ohtani attempt, but either way, that the issues that they've had in their middle infield, I don't know if I hate saying this because I like watching Tim Anderson play, but he's been not very good this year. I think in the last, it was like 300 at bats. He hasn't had a home run. Aside from like the first 2 weeks of the season, he's been very lackluster, for lack of a better term. But Dodgers picking up a Giolito, Anderson, Graveman. Any thoughts on those?
So I like Giolito to the Dodgers. I think he is going to be a Dodger. I don't know about Tim Anderson. I don't see a lot of teams being high on him right now, and I also don't think he gets moved at the deadline. Because right now, I think the White Sox are going to want more for him than other teams see as his worth now, because of kind of how he started the season. I think they ended up keeping him. Graveman's he's going to go to a team that really needs a bullpen arm, and that's basically every team that's a contender right now. I could see them making this trade. I like it. I don't know if he ends up exactly there, though, but Giolito for sure, I think, is going to be a Dodger. He's kind of the 1B to Stroman's 1A in this trade deadline, and especially with Bieber going down with that injury, I don't think he's in trade consideration anymore.
Know anything to add?
I'm all for it.
Yeah, you're all on?
Just do it. Send the ticket.
This one I thought was pretty interesting because it would be the Cardinals trading with the Yankees at the deadline again. They did the similar thing last year, and they got Harrison Bader for Jordan Montgomery. But they've got Dylan Carlson linked, who is controllable, I think, through 2026. Like, he still has a few years of control in him. Plus Jack Flaherty, who, from a potential standpoint, very high ceiling, but as he's displayed in the last couple of years with injuries and some inconsistent play, also kind of a low floor. But adding a corner outfielder, I think, is a pretty important deal for the Yankees and what they're trying to get done, and then also adding another starter to their system. I think this one's maybe a little bit more plausible for them, so I could definitely see something like this taking place, going after a corner outfielder starter, and the Cardinals have a little bit of both to offer. So
I like this trade for the Yankees more than I like the Cody Bellinger one, because Cody Bellinger's a center fielder. They've got Bader. I don't think they want to put Cody Bellinger in left or right, because Cody really excels in center field. But Carlson's a good bat, and he's a bat that's a corner outfielder. So I think this really works out for the Yankees. I'm not as high on Jack Flaherty, just because he's got the talent, like you said, but he just hasn't really been able to put it together recently. And I don't know. I'm just not that high on Flaherty. I don't really. His personality kind of irks me sometimes, and I don't think he's as good as he kind of thinks he is.
Yeah, I was just about to say the offense is awful. Just, dude, sign me at this point. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah, with Judge off of that lineup, I think, like, currently in terms of OPS as a team, they rank 22nd in Major League Baseball, which for that team, that payroll and what they expect to be, that's not gonna cut it. So yeah, I also think, like, instead of Jack Flaherty, who, just a note on Flaherty, like, his best year was 2019, and maybe the toughest year to pitch in baseball history because of the juice ball era, as we affectionately refer to it as, and he was stellar. And so, I don't know necessarily where that has gone, but I want to believe that it's still there somewhere. But the Yankees sent Jordan Montgomery to the Cardinals last year. Potentially, maybe a guy like Jordan Montgomery comes back. That would give them another lefty, considering they already have Rodon, who's finally off the IL, and Nestor. But just having another guy that can eat innings and pitch from the other side is always deadly. So this one I thought was the funniest, because this is straight from MLB.com's mouth and not mine. But they linked Marcus Stroman and Cody Bellinger, of all people, to the Astros, which,
Please no.
granted, a guy like Stroman, you can't, like, at some point in his career, he's got to play for the Astros just for, like, even if it's for 1 month, like, I'd be okay with it. And they desperately need a starting pitcher right now. And then Bellinger's a lefty outfield bat, which is something that the Astros desperately need right now. But that would be, I think, an interesting welcome into the organization if they actually pulled a trigger like that. Noah, your initial thoughts are, please no, go for it for a second.
I just don't want to see the Astros be good, man. I don't. No, I'm kidding. I think this would be pretty cool. Marcus Stroman, as much as I don't really like showboats in baseball, and he's probably the biggest one, I like him as a pitcher, though. He's really good, obviously. And Cody Bellinger he took a bet on yourself year this year, and it's been paying off. So, honestly, my eye at this trade deadline, besides Ohtani, is going to be Bellinger, and I think seeing him go to the Astros, that'd be really interesting. Come down to the division race and to see what playoff seedings will be. So we'll see what happens. So
for sure, I was surprised that they didn't mention, like, a trade for the Rangers as aggressive as they've been in free agency. Now, this was just one article, obviously, on the website, but it seemed like they just targeted, like, the Dodgers, Yankees, Astros to get clicks, honestly.
yeah.
Which I get, but I don't know. I would have preferred a little bit more of some interesting thoughts thrown around with the playoff race. Some other notable things that I think are at least worth discussing. The Padres, man. Obviously, we all kind of thought the Padres were going to be in the thick of things. 46 and 50, 9.5 games out. Are they going to sell? Are they going to try to sell Soto, since they haven't extended him? And they sold the farm basically for him last year. With them not in the race really right now, do they sell Soto to try to bring something back to their organization before they lose him to free agency?
So I think the Padres go ahead and trade Hader and Snell. I think they're gone for sure. But I don't think they trade Soto. A lot of that's because Soto's kind of... If you trade Soto, you're telling the fans kind of, hey, we failed. Like, we gave up this huge huge prospect package for Soto. You gave up a lot for him, and you're not going to get near that back. He's got one more year. I think there's a good chance of him re-signing with the Padres, so I think they're going to stick it out for him, especially with the fact I don't think they're going to get what they want. I think it will be one of those things, though, where they kind of wait till the very end of the deadline, maybe even the last game before the deadline, before they completely decide on if they're going to trade him or not.
Yeah, and that is a fair point. Soto does have one more year before he's a free agent, so I totally get the argument. It seems like they haven't really, I haven't really heard anything on the extension side of things at all since they've acquired him, and so I'm just, the oven's hot right now. A lot of people pay a lot of money for a corner outfield bat. But, yeah, no, I'm with you. I personally don't think Soto gets moved, but I have seen him at least mentioned a few times. I thought it was worth talking about. And then the Royals obviously are not in contention. So a guy like Salvador Perez, who needs a catcher, probably a lot of teams. Will Salvador waive his no trade clause to go somewhere? That I have no idea. He might just be happy to write out his contract in Kansas City and be where he's loved by everyone there. But Scott Barlow is a back end bullpen guy, can close games, can be a great setup man. Has pitched in high leverage situations in the regular season, not in the postseason, but he's done high leverage. So I think a lot of people make an attempt at Scott Barlow, but what do you guys think about Salvador Perez going somewhere?
Free him.
Free him.
Free him.
Although I don't like Salvador as much, I think he'd be good for a team like the Marlins. The Marlins really need some catching right now. But like I said, I'm not as high on him. Scott Barlow, though, he's going to go to a team that really needs a bullpen arm. I think he bolsters up almost any bullpen in the league right now. He's got some really good stuff.
Notes on Salvador right now. 15 home runs, 255 batting average. Not drawing as many walks as he has in the past. Only a 298 on base. But his 440 slugging kind of keeps him at a decent OPS. He's sitting right a tick over league average on the OPS plus. He's signed through 2025 and has a 2026 team option and a full no trade clause. So, I don't know that he gets moved. I think if he was going to get moved, he would have got moved last year. But just because he is a power hitting catcher, I think that potential is always there. And obviously kind of a team leader, has played, it has been a World Series MVP before. So he's been in the October struggles. So, always a fun name to pop around come this time. And I also wrote down Jordan Montgomery from the Cardinals because the lefty pitcher. You mentioned the Rangers just a minute ago. Because like I said, Martin and Heaney, while they've stayed healthy and have taken a lot of innings, they have not been the most productive for you guys. I don't know if Montgomery comes in and fixes the left-handed pitching messiah, but yeah, I think the Rangers make one more move, at least one more bullpen move. I don't know if they go after a starter, but I could definitely see it. And if you aren't happy with the way Martin and Heaney are pitching and you worry about them coming down the stretch, like Montgomery would be an option.
Montgomery, he's a guy I could see for
We'll see.
I really like him for the Rangers right now because we need a lefty arm. Martin and Heaney are not getting it done. And Montgomery would really fill in really nicely there and even be a playoff arm for us.
Are there any other guys or targets that you think the Rangers should go after?
Cease.
Yeah, I think everyone's going to be after Cease.
Possible. Yeah.
I imagine Cease is one of the guys they try to keep and build around.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ohtani, there's only one team I can really see getting him right now. I think that's the Rays. The Rays, right now, they've got the prospects, and this is the best team they're ever going to have, I think. I think they need to go for it now. They want the new stadium. They want new fans. You go get Ohtani, you win a World Series, that's going to happen. And they don't have a chance to sign him in the free agency period, I don't think. The Dodgers, they're probably going to wait because they have a good chance, and I don't think Marino trades him to them. Marino does not like the Dodgers. He's not going to want to make that trade. I have seen a couple of really bad trades from Jim Bowden. He made a Rangers one, and it was give up 2 pitchers of White, Leiter, Kumar, and Brock Porter, plus Ezekiel Duran, plus Evan Carter and Dustin Harris, which I think is ridiculous. Evan Carter's untouchable unless you're signing Shohei for another 10 years. His value right now is almost the same as Shohei's, given that Shohei's a rental. I'm not saying Evan Carter's as good as Shohei. I'm saying that because he's a rental, the value's around the same.
Yeah, that's the other thing is you're renting him, but are you in a position to have the first crack at extending him? Because that's also what you're getting is you get first dibs if you're going to make the big boy offer or not. But yeah, I hear you loud and clear. Like, I do think any team if you're going to sacrifice, 5 of your top 10 for a 2.5 month, 3 month rental, and maybe get to have first cracks at the extension, like, how good are those top 10 prospects? Where do they rank in the pipeline? Because if if you end up trading 5 top 100 guys, and it's like, wow, was that worth it? Like, that's a lot. According to MajorLeagueBaseball.com, the 10 teams that need Ohtani the most are, in order, the Rays, Phillies, Yankees, Braves, Dodgers, the Cincinnati Reds, the Giants, Rangers, Mariners, and the Orioles.
Man, I don't know what all this talk about, bro. He's fixing to be a Lone Star, royal blue. I don't know if that's the color or not. Red with the word Rangers across his chest. Not at the trade line, though. I don't want to trade for him. But I guess since we're talking about that, man, it's either... Man, I don't know, dude. I don't know. It's tough. I could see it being any one of these 10 teams that you said is the most on there, honestly. But we'll just have to wait and see, man.
I'll run through the reasoning just kind of real quick for all of them that they kind of gave. This is kind of off the top of my head from memory, but the Rays, obviously, like I said, this is the most kind of talented they've looked. Their window is as open as it has been since 2008. Now is the time to make a move if you're going to do it, and they have the prospect pool to make it happen. The Phillies, as Bryce Harper gets further away from his Tommy John situation in his arm, moving to first base, not having Rhys Hoskins, DH spot opens up, Ohtani fits right in, and obviously creating a three-headed monster at their rotation. The Yankees, 22nd in team OPS, like I mentioned earlier. Judge is still not where he's supposed to be, playing right field. So bring in the best bat around. The Braves, this one I thought was kind of weird. I don't know that the Braves need Ohtani, which is the way this was phrased, but basically it was just like, again, the window is as open as it's been since ever, so why not just add to the wagon? The Dodgers are the LA favorites to sign him in free agency, so why not go after him now and secure him before he can hit free agency? The Reds, same argument that the Rays kind of had. No one thought your window was going to be open, but guess what? Here we are, having the two most exciting players in Ellie De La Cruz and Shohei Ohtani on the same team could be a lot of fun. The Giants are going to try to make a bid for him in free agency because they did for Judge and Correa last year, so why not just go ahead and add him now? Jock Peterson, move him to left field and add Ohtani in your DH spot and have somebody to go 1-2 with Logan Webb at your rotation. The Rangers, I thought the reasoning for the Rangers was pretty funny. It was something along the lines of, well, you dropped $500 million on your middle infield and then you signed 4 veteran pitchers for your rotation, so you're in go for it mode, just go for it. Like, that was like the reasoning for it. The Mariners, I kind of glossed over because I thought it was weird they included it, but basically this was supposed to be the team that challenged for the West, and they need a giant shot in the arm, so go for it. And then the Orioles, no one expected them to be ready this year. They thought it was a year away. You have the prospect pool, go make a move and win you a chip. And that was kind of the general reasonings for all 10 teams. Postseason awards, just real quick. So they ran the Cy Young polls from, I think, at the All-Star game. So this is not the most up-to-date as of today, but as of a week ago. In the American League, the top 5 currently are Garrett Cole in first place, followed by Shane McClanahan, Framber Valdez, Nate Dogg Eovaldi, and Kevin Gossman. And then in the NL, Zach Gallen is kind of running away with it, followed by Spencer Strider, Clayton Kershaw, Blake Snell, and Logan Webb. The only name on here that kind of surprised me, and not surprised because he hasn't been able to do it this year, but just not when I had picked preseason. Your boy Evaldi, man, like he has stayed healthy and has pitched really well. Obviously, that was the big point for me, was I didn't trust him being able to go out there every fifth day, but man, he's really done it this year. So out of your Cy Young race right now, how do you think this thing shapes up at the end?
So, Garrett Cole, my order would be, like, I really think Garrett Cole's good. I'm a big Garrett Cole guy. I think I'd move Garrett Cole to the 5 right now. I'd move Gosman to the 1. Gosman's been insane this year. His numbers, I like them better than I like Cole's, as I like all these guys on the list names better than Cole, numbers better than Cole. I'd go Gosman 1, Shane 2, even though Shane hasn't really reached the innings, and he's got kind of that injury concern, I'd still go him 2. I'd go Nate Dogg 3 and Framber 4. I like that order, and I can get wanting to move Cole up, but right now I just think he's back there. I'd switch Blake Snell to where Strider is on this, and then I'd move Strider to 3. I think Blake's definitely been the second best pitcher, and if he'd been like this all year, he'd be the obvious number 1 right now.
Give me Fromber and give me Gallen.
Oh, okay. The MVP race is pretty clear cut, I think, in the moment. American League, it's Ohtani. National League, it's Acuna. Not a whole lot to debate or talk about there, I don't think, unless you guys have a difference of opinion on that.
I think the Angels should trade Ohtani to the NL so Seager wins MVP.
Okay, that's great.
I agree.
We'll see what happens. And postseason outlook. Final thing that we got today. So if the season ended right now, and this is a little bit tricky because technically the Rays have played more games than Baltimore and have more wins, but if the season ended today as things stand, Baltimore and Texas both have 58 wins. They would be set for the bye weeks as the highest winning percentages currently in the American League. The Rays have more wins at 60, but a smaller percentage. So technically they are wild card 1, which would put Houston versus the Twins and the Rays versus the Blue Jays in the American League wildcard round. And the 2 teams on the outside looking in would be the Red Sox and the Yankees. Over in the National League side, Atlanta and the Dodgers would get the bye. It would be Brewers versus Giants, Diamondbacks versus Phillies, with the outside looking in. 2 dark horses that we did not have on our lists, the Miami Marlins and the Cincinnati Reds. So what's the postseason feel like right now?
Yeah, I don't know how the seeding is, but I don't want to see Toronto in the postseason. Bad PTSD from my childhood. Don't want to see that happen. I'd love to see a Texas and Houston series, but I'm not sure how I might be sounding stupid. I'm not sure how the seeding is or whatever. But
yeah,
go Reds, man. Go Reds. I want the Reds to make the playoffs, dude.
It would be a lot of fun. Yeah, right now it'd be Houston Twins, Rays, Blue Jays.
So I don't really get how it goes either, but like, if Houston plays the Twins and then us, it's obviously going to be us. They're beating the Twins, which I think all Central teams should just be. They shouldn't have a playoff spot.
Can we go back to Major League Baseball in the early 90s before the expansion teams where it was just East and West? And
actually, the All-Star game. The way to decide should be whatever winner of the All-Star game wins their Central team. Yeah, you can get a playoff spot. But, like, the loser, no playoff spot for them.
Your Central teams aren't in.
But yeah.
Well, currently, the Brewers have a decent case, except for the fact that their run differential is awful. They have a negative run differential. The Reds are minus 12 in their run differential, so I need some of these Central teams to start scoring more runs. In the American League, only in the Central for the American League, only the Twins have a positive run differential. So there's 10 teams between both leagues in the Central divisions, five in each. and only one team on both sides has a positive run differential. So 2 out of 10. So mid. I will say this, if and it looks like this is going to happen, I would love for this to happen. I think it'd be great. If we get a Houston Texas potential postseason matchup, I just want to say that I did say I would think it would be great if both teams were playoff eligible. And it looks like as of right now, they both will be. And man, if we get a best of 7 ALCS with those two squads, I would be so down for that.
ALCS. Chapman strikes out Altuve to go to the World Series.
Oh, that would be a change of pace for him. Think we're good? No, any last words?
I'm good, man.
All right, well, we will get this posted here shortly. Thanks for joining us today on our Back from the Dead episode of Swing for Contact. And we will have all the trade results following the deadline. Be looking forward to that information. And be sure to follow us on Instagram and Twitter and anywhere else that you might enjoy content. We will see you next time.